Guys, I'm Steve. In this video, we're going to be going over my biggest Week 12 takeaways. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to start here with the man himself, Trevor Lawrence. What more can we say about this kid? He's been showing nothing but guts, heart, no fear all year. He comes out here, he goes 29 of 37. He throws for 321 passing yards. He has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The man completes 78.4% of his passes, and he has the dramatic TD and 2-point conversion with 14 seconds left to ultimately steal the W away from the Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens, finishing as the QB5 in Week 12, Trevor Lawrence. So Lamar Jackson here, he puts his Ravens up by 7 with 2 minutes to play. Trevor Lawrence on the following possession, he's facing 3rd and 21, converts that crazy 3rd and 21 to Christian Kirk, keep the drive going. Then on 4th down, facing another conversion, he makes that conversion to Marvin Jones. Again, another crazy conversion. And then the shin-dragging TD to Marvin Jones to put the Jags within 1. This is really some movie-type shit here. All signs are pointing towards you kick the extra point, you play for overtime, you see what happens. Not Doug Peterson, who is famously known for the Philly special, back in Super Bowl 52 in 2018, and not Trevor Lawrence. He's also not kicking this extra point. Trevor Lawrence, the man who only lost 1 game in college, a national championship game, to the Joe Burrow-led LSU Tigers. It's it is crazy. Like, what more can you say? Just when you think it's out of reach, Trevor Lawrence and these Jaguars, they go on a crazy comeback. This Baltimore defense, it's the 2nd worst defense in the 4th quarter. The Baltimore defense in the 4th quarter is giving up 9 points per game. That is certainly a number they need to try and fix. And the Baltimore defense as a whole, they've been struggling recently. They've been allowing opposing passers to throw for over 253 yards a game in the air. Trevor Lawrence certainly took advantage of that leaky secondary. I'm not sure there was many coaches who would trust their QB enough to even make a decision like that in that moment, to convert a play like that, to have that kind of trust in your quarterback. I feel that's a big testament to how far Trevor Lawrence and these Jacksonville Jaguars have come. Obviously, the stink of Urban Meyer is still in the air, but I feel like it's slowly starting to make its way out the door. It's in the rearview mirror for the most part now. The defense in Jacksonville is obviously something to be desired, but this young offense led by this quarterback and this new coaching staff they have, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, man, I'd be very excited about the future going forward. So we're going to start with a really, really big high, and we're going to go to a really, really big low. So now we're gonna pivot here to the Russell Wilson-led Denver Broncos. Goddamn, what a low, and a low we didn't expect, I feel. I think our expectations blinded the reality of the situation. Diving into it before the season, maybe we should have had the expectations a little lower. We all know Russell Wilson's track record. He has the 2 Super Bowl appearances, the 1 win. He has all the stats and yada, 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 all that nonsense. But he's coming into a new offense. He's coming into a new coach, literally, Nathaniel Hackett's first head coaching gig. He needs to learn this offense. He needs to learn the language. He needs to learn the players. He needs to learn the strengths and weaknesses of his players. He needs to earn the trust of them. And I think maybe that's something that might be being overlooked, just because maybe you wouldn't think of it, is maybe him playing in Denver. Denver, the state of Colorado, is a mile above sea level. So maybe he's adjusting to that in the air. I don't know if he's just having trouble with it and the breathing, but maybe it's something we can kind of look into. But regardless, a loss to the Panthers certainly has to be rock bottom. The Panthers defense ranks 19th in total defense, so it's certainly a defense that can be exploited. Russell Wilson was absolutely terrible against the Panthers, going just 19 of 35 for 142 useless yards, one useless touchdown in garbage time, and that 23-10 loss. So now I feel it is very eye-opening. I'm sure all of us saw it. I feel it's very eye-opening that somebody on the Denver defense, not even the offense, was getting up in Russell Wilson's grill. I think that's a testament for how frustrated this team is with him. I don't think we're putting all the blame on him. I feel like the coaching and all that stuff, that certainly is playing a role. But if your defense is coming up to you and getting in your face, something certainly needs to change. He's not even averaging a TD a game. On the year, he only has 8 total throwing touchdowns through 12 weeks. He missed week 7. 8 touchdowns, 1 missed game. Russell Wilson, we know he certainly has a lot more touchdowns at this point. I don't work in the front office of an NFL team. I'm not part of a coaching staff. But my bold, not so bold prediction is Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett and or both of these players will not be part of the Denver Broncos come next year. But with that being said, let's go back to a really big high. Josh Jacobs. Let's go. I really don't think I need to say more. Those who did that no running back strategy in your drafts and then took this guy, probably say around 5-ish, 6-ish, 7-ish, maybe 8, I'm sure you're smiling ear to ear, Joker style. Why so serious? But in all seriousness, if you were able to snag this guy in those later rounds, what a steal he has been. In week 12, Josh Jacobs, he rushed 33 times for 229 rushing yards, 2 rushing scores, including that dramatic walk-off TD, while adding another 74 receiving yards on 6 catches. Over 300 yards of offense this man produced. He produced more yards from scrimmage than friggin' Derek Carr did. That is the definition of putting the team on your back, quite literally. On the year, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He has 216 total carries. He has almost 1,200 rushing yards. He has 9 rushing touchdowns. He has 40 catches on 48 targets for an additional 325 receiving yards. Only 1 fumble out of all those touches, which is insane. 256 total touches, only 1 fumble. The Raiders and Josh Jacobs, they were playing, people are going to run to the fact that they were playing a very poor Seattle Seahawks run defense and a very poor Seattle Seahawks defense as a whole. It doesn't matter. He came out and he simply just crushed. There's no other explanations. These are grown men. These are professionals. And he came out here and more or less put some respect on my name with those 230 yards he had and over 300 yards total of scrimmage. He's a top 5 back rest of season. That's just what it is. So this next one I'm going to go over is kind of funny. We're going to go over the Jets backfield here. So with this Jets backfield, there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. I think the only thing that isn't a mystery is Breece Hall. He's obviously out indefinitely. But so we have James Robinson here. He's a healthy scratch in week 12, which I think all of us kind of found a little eyebrow raising. We have Michael Carter leaving the game early with his ankle injury. Then that leaves us with the only 3 healthy backs on the roster. James Robinson, as I mentioned, the healthy scratch, and then Ty Johnson, and a player I didn't even know of, Zonovan Knight. James Robinson will almost certainly be active this week, considering the situation. His role is yet, of course, to be determined, just like all these backs in New York here. And I'm sure going forward, James Robinson is going to be active the rest of the season. Michael Carter here. The reports coming out right now are saying that his ankle injury isn't serious and it's labeled day-to-day. I think it's a low ankle sprain. So he certainly has a shot at suiting up at week 13 against the Vikings. This situation obviously just needs to be monitored throughout the week. I'm sure Michael Carter won't practice all week, so his availability is obviously up in the air. So now with these last 2 running backs, Ty Johnson and Zonovan Knight, Zonovan Knight outsnapped Ty Johnson 30-15. Zonovan Knight making his NFL debut, undrafted rookie. He looked good. He looked very good, actually. He looked gritty. He looked tough. He looked strong. He rushed 14 times for 69 rushing yards, almost 5 yards a carry. He also added 3 catches on 3 targets for 34 receiving yards, over 103 total scrimmage yards. he got the nod over James Robinson for some reason. Robert Saleh came out and said it was because of his running style. So it remains to be seen how that's going to transpire in this backfield going forward. Ty Johnson, he also looked very explosive in this game. He rushed there 5 times, 62 rushing yards. He had the score, I think it was a 32-yard rushing score, something like that, 20-yard score. 1 catch on 2 targets for 16 receiving yards. So it's really hard to imagine what this backfield is going to look like moving forward. But Ty Johnson and Zonovan Knight both looked explosive and great compliments to one another. It's kind of like that old saying from Forrest Gump. Life's like a box of chocolates. We just don't know what we're going to get. And I feel like that really does ring true, at least with this Jets backfield with all 4 of these guys, because we truly don't know how it's going to unfold here from here on out. So jump into some wide receivers here. Sky Moore of the Kansas City Chiefs. Back-to-back consistent weeks from this young rookie. In Week 11, he played 27 snaps. He ran 16 routes. He had 5 catches on 6 targets for a total of 63 receiving yards for a total target share of 19%, which is very significant because that is a 38% target share per route run. That is insane. He only ran 16 routes and he's targeted on 38% of them. That is wild. A very solid mark. He now follows that performance up this week in Week 12 with another solid effort here. He played 35 snaps, so a little uptick from Week 11, running 15 routes here. Again, having 5 catches on 6 targets for 36 receiving yards, a total target share of 16%. He did have a fumble, but he's a rookie. Don't hold it against him. He's going to make mistakes. So this is where things get funny. So his target share per route run was an insane 40% in that game. 40%, and he ran less routes. Only 1 less route, but still targeted more. 40% target rate per route run, and he only ran 15 routes. That is crazy. So over those 2 games, he has 12 targets on only 31 routes, and he has an average of 39% target share per route run, which is crazy. That is a very small sample size, but those numbers are very significant, and it should make you feel very comfortable with Sky Moore moving forward. These rookie receivers tend to break out in the second half of seasons. So Sky Moore, if he's out there, I'd be taking a look at him. And if he's on your bench, keep him. He ain't going nowhere. Another wide receiver that just returned from a little IR stint, Marquise Brown. He made his return from the short trip on IR, his first game action since Week 6. He looked good. He looked great. There were some reports saying he was going to be on a pitch count, but that clearly was not the case. He played 97% of the snaps. He led the team in targets, having 6 catches for 46 receiving yards, had 2 red zone targets, came out the game clean, healthy. The Cardinals enter their week bye now, sitting 3rd in the NFC West at 4-8. They're pretty trash. So jump into a tight end here. Cole Kmet understandably came back down to earth this week. Trevor Siemian, enough said. He only had 3 catches for 27 yards. He had 6 targets, though, which is good. He ran a route on 93% of the dropbacks. The unfortunate injury to Darnell Mooney will probably have Cole Kmet as its biggest benefactor next to Chase Claypool. But outside of that, Cole Kmet is probably a top 5 tight end the rest of the year with how bad the tight end landscape is. And quickly go over like a tight end stud you don't need to really worry about much. Mark Andrews, he made his return. He dropped that brutal TD, obviously, but he still had 7 targets. He still ran a route on 95% of the dropbacks. All the injuries in Baltimore's offense, Mark Andrews is a top 2 tight end every week, all week, every day on Sunday. Don't overthink it. Start him. But I think that's all I got for this video. I appreciate everybody for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.